Hello friends, how are you doing? It's a gloomy day here in Copenhagen. It's raining, autumn has arrived. It's feeling pretty cozy, honestly. Okay, so today I'm continuing my little series on spaces that inspire me, cool homes that inspire me, where I show you cool spaces that I really love and talk about why I love them. And today we're talking about the home of Emily Adams Bode and Aaron Aujla. Emily is a fashion designer. You may have heard of her fashion line Bode, and Aaron is a furniture designer. He co-founded Green River Project. And this is their New York City apartment in Chinatown. I first saw this space a few years ago when Vogue posted their home tour to YouTube. And about a year later, I think, it was also featured in Architectural Digest. And the styling in that shoot is a bit different than the styling in the video, but it definitely maintains the same sense of place, which I think is pretty cool. They have also since moved to a new home. So this is not where they live right now, but it is a space that has stuck with me ever since I first saw it. I think about this home pretty often because I think it's a really great example of a home that feels really thoughtfully curated and just like a very authentic reflection of the people who live in it. So if you want to see the full home tour, you can go watch that now and then come back to chat with me about it. Or again, like last time, you can just hang out here and I'll sort of take you through their space. I'm always extremely interested in how creatives and designers shape their spaces. And I feel like Emily and Aaron's approach to their home and spatial design in general is really clearly aligned with how they speak about their design practices, which is just really lovely. I love to hear that. You get the sense that they both really value history and materiality and archiving pieces that have a unique story or a certain level of sentiment to them. And every corner of this home just feels so nostalgic. I think that's the best word to sort of encompass the feeling that this space gives. The Vogue interview is actually titled Objects of Affection, so they place a heavy focus on talking about sort of small details and pieces that are really special to them. And I really feel like that's just the perfect format to approach this home because of who these designers are and how they think. So the tour starts off in the kitchen, which is such a wonderful space, in my opinion. It probably won't surprise any of you that I love the material quality of this space. The natural wood being used in the cabinetry, and they also clad the walls with it. It's giving such a nice, warm feeling. And here on my channel, we of course really love an authentic, honest material like this. And I also really love the metallic backsplash. I think the contrast between that and the wood is really lovely. The storage solutions and appliances in this space, they feel really unpretentious and just authentic. I also really love all of the unique hardware details, like those oversized handles above the fridge there, and also the carved walnut shell that they used as a cabinet pull. I think these bring such like a nice human and casual feeling to this space. It just really feels like a space you can genuinely use. Like it's all very approachable and not too precious. I also want to point out that beyond having this very raw wood material, there are these little details throughout the space that are contributing to this feeling. Like you can see here above the fridge where there used to be these exterior mounted hinges, but they changed them and decided to leave the sort of footprint where those used to be. Also, you can see that there's this very like fundamental cabinetry construction and what I assume is unfinished wood actually framing in the fridge there. All of these little details really contribute to like the unpretentious, like well-used vibe. This is just so clearly the home of two creators that value the art of creating and the stories of those creations. Do you know what I mean? I also think that their use of color throughout the home complements these authentic materials so well, specifically this very warm, natural wood tone. For example, this partition that they've painted yellow or this blue bookcase, it all just feels like a very thoughtful and sophisticated use of color. Even though these colors are very saturated, I think that they used them very smartly. Also, just a side note, but at this point in the video, she says one of the sweetest things ever. She says, every garment that I make or I've ever made has been for you in a way, which is such a cute thing to say. In their dining room, they talk about their dining table that Aaron made with his partner, Ben Bloomstein. And they say something that I feel like is really clear just from their home, that they value pieces that are not mass-produced and are one of a kind and sort of have their own story, which I think is just so clearly fitting with their home and their respective approaches to their fashion and furniture design projects. I also really love the depth that's created in the dining room by bringing together all of these different wood tones and the sort of natural fiber rug. I think that it feels really, really nice. And again, really, really like human and imperfect in an intentional way. It's all working together really well. I'm also not sure if they made this chair at the head of the table, but I'm really obsessed with it. I love the shape and how it suits the space, and you guys know that I love pieces that have clean silhouettes, but bring in a lot of interest and warmth through their material. And this chair is doing exactly that in a very beautiful way, I think. Something that I can't really get on board with are these three-legged milking stools that they're using as dining seats. They say that when people aren't familiar with their space, they pretty frequently tip over and fall out of these seats. And for me, that definitely crosses a line out of my value of form follows function. Although I do really love the way they talk about it. Like they say it as if it's some sort of icebreaker. And I really love the idea of thinking about functions creatively and considering things like emotions and human interactions as functions. But when it actually compromises the primary function of a piece, like a chair that you can't sit in, I can't really get on board with that. It's vaguely giving Stark's lemon squeezer that's designed to get messy and get lemon juice in your eye. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go watch my video on postmodernism, but I don't like that approach to design. And I agree that these stools look beautiful in this space, but if more than one person has tipped out of them, I personally would not use them in my dining room. They also have this dog bed that they made for their dog Monday, who's very cute. And the bed itself is made from a towel from the 1960s. Emily says that she collects towels from that era. And I just think it's so nice. It just goes so well with the wood frame that they built for the bed. And it's one more thing with a story in their home. Every piece in their home has so much soul and so much life. And moving on to the living room, I think that this sofa is the main reason that their space crosses my mind as often as it does, inspired by senior cords, which is this tradition of basically treating corduroy pants like a yearbook and covering them in little drawings and signatures. And the way that they took this idea and created this sofa is one of my favorite things ever. These two just have such a wonderful understanding and appreciation for the life of their pieces and the sort of human footprint that's left on our spaces. And for me, that's what I love about spatial design, sort of celebrating that relationship that people have with spaces. Like we shape our spaces and our spaces shape us. And having this like organic living piece that can continue to be drawn on and added to, and people can leave their mark on it, is just so good and so beautiful. I really love it a lot. They even say that if somebody like spills something and stains their sofa, they have just drawn over it. And again, it's just adding to the feeling of this home that feels so unprecious and like it's just meant to be used and lived in and enjoyed. I've talked about this before, but I really, really love furniture that's in imperfect condition. I love a patina. I love like a ring from a coffee cup on a coffee table. I love pieces that are imprinted with use and don't feel like untouchable or unusable. And I think that these two in their home have done that really well. And something like this sofa goes beyond just accepting that, but even like celebrating and highlighting it. Their bathroom is also so fantastic. Again, the use of this paint color with that wood cladding on the wall is working so well. and it's very good. And also this antique bathtub that they brought in is so good. The color and the patina on it is just bringing so much soul into this space that's very in line with the rest of the home, of course. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot, but it's just because there's such a clear design language and design philosophy throughout all of these spaces. And continuing with that idea of nostalgia and archiving and celebrating the history of pieces, they've used her grandmother's lace as curtains in this space, which is not only such a sweet, sentimental thing to do, but the daylight coming through that texture is just so beautiful and really contributing to the sense of place. This bathroom just feels so human, which is a pretty hard thing to do. Even bathrooms that are really thoughtfully designed can end up feeling just very sterile. If I had this bathroom, I would spend most of my day in that bathtub. I think this is such a lovely space. Overall, this apartment just feels so usable and authentic and human and non-precious, non-pretentious. And it all comes together to create this really distinct warmth and sense of nostalgia that I just really deeply appreciate and feel super inspired by for my own home. I hope this space sparks a little bit of inspiration in you guys as well. I think we should all try to embrace and celebrate the life of our objects and our spaces a little bit more, because it's a really nice thing to do. Okay, that's all I have for now. I will see you soon. Love ya. Bye.